Shalom, shalom, everybody. Happy Tuesday, man. Just something I want to get on here. The rule I've been putting on my spirit just recently. Just about ever since I really started to keep the commandments of the Most High, man, and I continue to keep Torah or keep the law, man. Just some things that I've heard people tell me or try to explain to me that didn't make any logical sense, saying like all of the Old Testament is just, old stuff. We don't have to do it anymore. Or, the Old Testament was just like a shadow of what's to come or what we need to do now. And that it was like our schoolmaster, like, it was like showing us just how bad we were and that we couldn't do it on our own. Understandable, true. And Messiah came and gave us freedom from having to atone and kill animals all the time, but everything in that Old Testament and the law and the prophets is not done. Let's get just a secular view, you know what I'm saying? A book, right? Let me just grab this little magazine right here, man. Flip the camera real quick. So if I gave y'all this magazine right now and I told you wanted to learn about how to hunt and fish, right? And you wanted to know what seasons and like regulations and everything. And I just told you, hey, bro, just read right here. Don't worry about all this other stuff in the back and the front. You know what I'm saying? Just come straight to the back and read all of this, see all of that, and you'll be all right. What if I told you that with this book, the Bible? What if I told you, hey, bro, just worry about this, the back of the book. Just worry about all this right there. This is what we need to worry about, to get salvation, to reach the kingdom. Don't worry about this thick old big body piece of the book right here, which is 80% of the Bible. Don't worry about that. That's bondage right there. We don't have to worry about that. Do y'all see the illogic in, as I was saying, y'all see the illogic in that, right? In English. Has any of our English teachers ever told us, hey, just read the back of the book, or we just going to start in the last 2 chapters of the book and we going to figure out the whole rest of the book? No. English teacher will look at you crazy, boy. So why in the world in churches and Christianity, bro, is, hey, we just got to worry about when Jesus came and the apostles and that's it. And we got salvation. Don't worry about nothing in the Old Testament. Only if it just tells you about Jesus coming, because that Old Testament, man, is just bondage. We ain't got to do it no more. They couldn't do it. We couldn't live like that. It's impossible. It's hard. You'll just mess your brain up trying to do it. That's what some people will tell you, bro, in this walk, dog. But when you really start to read it yourself, you're like, bro, these commandments are doable, dog. It just take faith and patience and work, bro. Getting into some quick history, man. So from Genesis all the way to Malachi, that's the Old Testament. I really don't even like using that no more, but we just gonna use it just to keep it simple. So Genesis to Malachi is the Old Testament. And y'all realize this right here. Y'all realize all of this Bible, this covers at minimum 4,000 years, 4 million. And that's not even including before the flood and after the flood. I'll probably do another video where I calculated how many years it was for real, like leading up to the flood, just based off the genealogy in Genesis 5, I believe, 4 or 5. But that Old Testament, man, is about 4,000 years of history. And the New Testament is only 100 years. So historically, which is going to be more profound and more valuable? I know I said I was going to do another video, but I got it right here, man. And this is strictly, I ain't saying this is actual historical, historian documented anthropological documentation. But, man, this is just strictly based off the scriptures and how old these men were before the flood. I counted all of them up, as you can see on my highlights, how old they are, calculated all of it up. This is Genesis chapter 5. 8,125 years before the flood happened. 8,125 years before the flood happened. That's Genesis. And then all the way from really Torah, where it really starts in Exodus, all the way up to Malachi is probably another 2,000. So that's a lot of time, bro. And all of that is just supposed to be done away with, gone. All right, I'm gonna try to make this quick, man. But there's an intertestamental period from Malachi till John the Baptist came. So about 400 years where the Most High didn't raise up any prophets during that time. So a lot of stuff was going on. This book right here, the Apocrypha, there's a lot of controversy behind this too. It's not considered scripture canon. You know, the Catholic Church took these out because the original King James had it. That covers about 400 years, but none of the prophets or anything, the Most High wasn't speaking directly to Israel. So it's really good for history, though. It documents history a lot. There's some controversy about it being canon or scriptural, but it's really good for history, dog. And there's a lot of gems in there. But that's about 400 years in between the law and the prophets until John the Baptist and Messiah came. All right. Come on, Jamal. So, yes. So now when you get to the epistles and the gospels, that's only about 4 BC when Messiah was born, around that time when King Herod was still running over Israel, and he had died. So around the same time he had died, that was the same time Messiah was born. It was about 4 BC. This is historical documentation. Y'all could Google it, bro. So from 4 BC to about 96, 100 AD was when Revelation was written, and Apostle John was on island of Patmos, and he was isolated out there. That's the last book that was written. So from that time, that's about 100 years. But Christianity and everybody else will tell you really just focus on them 100 years and forget about 8,000 years of history, bro. Does that make logical sense? No. Man, I've had folks tell me bluntly, dead to my face, that Messiah and the apostles, they were getting their information from the New Testament, or that Messiah and the apostles, they was writing the Old Testament or the New Testament as it was getting lived out. How, bro? They're getting their information from the law and the prophets, dog. And I hope y'all know this too, that the epistles and the gospels weren't even written till about 20 years after Messiah came and ascended back to the Father, man. And then it's funny too, because Messiah told Peter, James, and John not to write anything or say anything until after he left anyway. I've had people tell me straight up that the apostles and Messiah was getting their information from the New Testament, bro. Lastly, man, when you understand that way and you dissect the Bible historically and you start to understand the apostles lived the way they did and why Messiah told us to not be of this world, and you start to understand that the apostles and Messiah had a completely different culture than what we live in today, and how to be in the world but not of the world is to have different rules and regulations and laws. I don't care what laws government and mayors and everything pass. The Most High has laws that we actually follow. There's going to be times I understand, and Messiah and Most High understands too, that that's where grace comes in, because everybody won't be able to keep everything as well. But the main commandments you can keep is loving the Most High and loving your neighbor. But when you really dig into the word, you get deeper and you get a position where you can keep the commandments you need. All that to say, I'm not the first and I'm not the last. Many of us that's waking up, natural branches, natural Israelites, blood born and grafted in, other the Gentiles, other nations, you're going to start seeing a lot more people do away with these holidays, man. You're going to start seeing a lot of people change their diet, bro. You're going to see a lot of people start keeping the holy days, start keeping Sabbath properly, dog. Doing away with Sunday worship, bro. You're going to start seeing, watch. It's time. Abba's drawing the line in the sand, man. He's drawing the line in the spirit, making sure, do you stand over here with me, or are you standing over there with the world? Pick a side. It's almost time. But I just pray this edified y'all, man. I know it was a lot, but it was just on my spirit just to say it out. So, man, I love anybody who's watching this. In Yahushua name, Messiah name, shalom.